what can cricket lovers, cricket fans, cricket stakeholders on the whole look forward to under the guidance or leadership or administration of Calvin Hope?
Well, as you know, I am um, running for the position of Vice President, and Mr. Anand Sanasi of Guyana, he's the Secretary of the Guyana Cricket Board. He is running for President. And we represent a team who will be inclusive. We will be sound in decision making. There will be no disrespect and we will operate in a transparent manner. And as I said, fully inclusive. One of the very key things that we want to pursue and will pursue is the involvement of our past cricketers in a meaningful way. And several of our past cricketers are world renowned and have celebrity status and are well respected in international markets, especially in markets of the major cricket playing countries in the world. And we believe that that's an important asset to the building and sustaining the development of West Indies cricket and should be utilized. But not outside of actual cricket only, because we want to involve them in the strategic planning of our cricket, to get their expertise involved. And over the years, as you know, and your audience would have experienced, some of our past cricket successful players they were either a selector, a manager, or given some one-off position. We believe while that is helpful and has been helpful, that there need to be more integral workings. They need to be involved further, where when you're doing strategic planning, when you mentorship and performance enhancement of a team. So one of the measures which is what we speak to, innovations, is to have where all of the West Indies teams have attached to it a successful former player, West Indies player, as a mentor and a performance enhancement support for the team. Not to interfere, but to support and add value to the support of the team. Right? And that is where, and we are talking about West Indies teams, we're talking about our regional franchise teams, and we're talking about our youth teams, and including women. As you know, Mr. Courtney Walsh is currently the manager, not the manager, the coach of the women's team. That's great, but we need to go further in terms of the strategic planning of each team. But I mean, here we are. We would have a West Indies team playing, and we focus on the upcoming tour. But the Sanasi Hope position is that we will be planning for a 4-year cycle of our team's participation. The personnel in the team might change, but we want a culture to develop to when these talented folks are engaging with their opposition, that there is a sustained culture, that we know what the plan is. And if you have to come into the team, then most of the team knows of the strategic plan. You come in, you're educated about the strategic plan, and it, you know, and everything rolls out in a plan, not ad hoc, right? And there is specific focus and with a will, a steely will, and understanding of what the agenda is going to win.
Now, insularity is something that people don't really like to give specifics about, but it's something that comes up quite often. Even in the present cricket environment, you hear comments from the fans. The fans don't necessarily have or don't have a vote regarding anything to do with cricket West Indies. But I think we all accept that without cricket fans, really the whole exercise, would be very short-lived. How can you reassure cricket fans that this whole idea of insularity when it comes to team selection and matters involving the players, how can that be checked and controlled for the betterment of West Indies?
I will tell you what our approach is. And from my experience, sitting on Cricket West Indies board in the last 4 years, I have not experienced any director from a particular territory operating in that manner to say directly that trying to promote themselves or their particular territory. And even if it came to a situation that they felt strongly about a particular matter, it was always grounded with good evidence or facts, or good reason, put it that way, as to why they felt a particular matter that they raised, should be addressed. So this widespread thing about insularity, it is something that has been talked about, but the deep-rooted thing, to me, of insularity is not the thing that bedevils our cricket, as people say, because I've been there, I don't know what happened in the past. What I may say is that people may not agree with selection, and selectors, I believe, they do their best, and I think they do, when they make decisions, I think they believe that it's the best decision at the time. Now, I may not agree with the decision, you may not, and then you may go and do some research and say, well, this doesn't seem right. But you live or die by your decisions. So everybody makes mistakes. There are some things that I don't agree with, but I would not knock the selectors in a public way when they make decisions. If I happen to see a thing, and I may make a comment to a select, as I do in Barbados, because I don't always agree with everything that selectors do in Barbados, all their decisions. And I may say, well, but I saw you made so and so and so. What drove that? I mean, why didn't you think of so? But not in a way to interfere or to ask them to make any decision. It's just for my own education that you may ask it by the way question. So to me, selection is the selection panel. To me, should be sacrosanct, and their decisions. They make the decisions, and when you have the time to review their performance, then you deal with that. And the insularity that I hear tend to come from certain quarters, and that is how I see it, and so I to tackle that though, I think the environment that you manage should be, you should set up a very clear policy framework of how things are done, and so that everybody understands. players understand, the selectors understand, the board understand. And for instance, I've heard yourself and many other people asking questions about the fitness regime. Now, it is obvious that if people are asking questions, that it is not clear what it is. And even if it is clear, it is not being practiced in the way within the framework of that clarity of what is written down. So all of these are things that we have seen happen before and now, even more so, because the incumbents had promised to clean up all of the things that they claim were wrong, but yet they still continue and continue to in even greater measure. So players must be put in a comfort zone where there's no fear of victimization. In other words, they operate in an environment of confidence and transparency, and that they can ask questions, and that there's an avenue, a clear avenue for them to address concerns without fear of victimization and having to go in a corner and probably go and complain to their particular territory shareholder management, but they can come to the organization as a contracted player or as a player on a team and say, look, so and so, here is a point that I can think. Now, there may be a player relations officer, but is that working properly? Do the players really trust that mechanism, and not to and this is nothing to do with any personnel that might be in place. It is just the system that one needs to trust. So all of these things are very, very important in the management of this organization and its affairs.
So you put out a very impressive manifesto. As the time draws closer, how confident are you that you'll be able to persuade the shareholders to support yourself and your running mate?
Well, myself and Anand Sanasi, who's running for president, he's running, as I said, president. I'm running for vice president. We have done some very deep research and consultations, undertook some consultations to inform this manifesto. And all the reviews, we have not had one negative comment on that these are not workable. And let me just take the manifesto here, right? That is not that there's anything in there not workable or achievable. And we've had great reviews on it. And we believe the BCA, Barbados Cricket Association, has endorsed or both myself and the candidacy of Mr. Sanasi and our plans. So we believe that an important organization and a successful organization in the administration of cricket, and perhaps the most successful, when you look at the facts and the years of Barbados's involvement, if we can get that kind of endorsement from such an organization, and of course, Mr. Sanasi has had that from Guyana Cricket Board, we believe that that lends to some confidence in us that we can clear credible challenges.
For cricket stakeholders throughout the region, what word would you want to leave with them ahead of the election?
Well, the words I will leave with the cricket stakeholders, fans, at the Sanasi Hope combination guarantees inclusiveness, transparency, openness to them, and confidence in the players, that environment, and we will ensure that the profile of cricket West Indies as an organization move to higher heights, that we will do all things to help them gain further confidence in the organization and in our cricket. We will expand the reach of our cricket. We will be looking to expand the revenue streams of the organization for its sustainability, and we will improve on the corporate governance of the organization to make it more transparent and involvement of creative minds.
Calvin Hope, thanks very much for joining us on Anything Cricket. Let's talk.
Yes. Thank you very much, Philip.